Alrighty. Hopefully that setup all worked, right? And hopefully all the settings that I fucked with last time to get the sound correct have continued to function. As usual, I'll wait for a little bit to let people get in here before I actually get started playing La Mulana. Hey, Patchy. Good to see you. As usual, in terms of timing, I'll probably let the opening play out for a bit before I actually get started. You know, once again, just to let people have enough time to get in here. In the meantime, well, obviously, La Mulana, after I finish this game, its sequel is next up on the block for streaming, although that might not be immediately. But also, I've been playing Sunless Skies because it's finally far enough that I feel good, like, playing an early access game, and holy crap, is it pretty awesome. There's so much stuff to talk about already, and the game's not even done yet, so, it won't be, like, a big thing, but possibly in the future, look forward to some, Sunless Skies fucking around and showing off the game type streams. Alrighty. Yeah, I think we can probably get started at this point. Is the volume okay in terms of voice to music ratio? Alright, good to hear. Okay, so, last time, we defeated the fourth boss, the fourth guardian in the game, out of 8 total, not counting the final boss, and that may have given the impression that the game's about halfway over. That would be completely incorrect. We are, at best, a third of the way through the game. The next 4 bosses are going to be much more of a hassle to actually reach, which is a common thing with La Mulana. It just the sequel did this too, where the first few bosses you get to basically all in a row, and then the last few, they're a bit more difficult. So, first thing I'm gonna do is head back to the Temple of the Sun. And this is because there was a new area we unlocked last time that we very briefly visited, but didn't really. And that would be the Chamber... oh, shit. The Chamber of Extinction. Ow. Right. I hate these enemies. Okay. New plan. We're going to need to see what we can do about this situation. Well, it looks like I'm going to have to restart this entire area over to get to the other side, because I was knocked off. Bloody pyramid. As usual, that Sphinx is still shooting lasers at us. That's probably not going to change for the time being, which is unfortunate because it's blocking a, well, an entrance somewhere. We can't actually kill the Sphinx because it's, you know, made of stone, and it's a bit too big to be completely destroyed by waving a knife around. This guy again. Hey, Frog. Yeah, you mentioned something about power. Is that just like you don't have a ton of power in your house? Alright, let the light burn here. This is a clever little puzzle. You see this little square thing in the background that I'm jumping in front of? Well, if we use the flare gun, it lights up the area. Temporarily. This is pretty much going to be the main gimmick with the Chamber of Extinction. Ah, I see. Well, no worries. Take the dragon bone in hand, it shall light the way to the center of this land. You don't need to save this conversation, but do remember that the dragon bone's important for something. And we're gonna go ahead and grab the map. And in a few seconds, most likely, yep, the light's gonna go off. So let's deal with that. The large stone statue is Spriggan. Hostility awakens it. Further attacks will still its unrest. This is technically a tablet for this area, but it's a part of this area we won't be able to reach until late mid to full late game. And this is, I believe, Hekatonkaris. This guy is a really annoying boss that I hate. Not because he has any, like, specifically bad patterns, just because he's a bit of a damage sponge. And then you have this bullshit. Thankfully, beating him gives us access to a very nice weapon, the Chakram. Once we're out of immediate danger from these little roly balls, I will tell you what the Chakram does. The cog of the soul gives life. We sprung forth from it, prospered, perished, then departed this world. Interesting. This is another small story hint, as well as a hint towards a later item. In general, anything written in green in La Mulana is a reference to an item of some sort. This room will be very important for a somewhat silly reason later on. It has to do with this big column of breakable blocks. Now, do be a bit careful. Because now I've lost the... shoot. Ah, there it is. And here's another one of the Seeking Eden puzzles, which is a puzzle that we will probably be solving in this part. I'll put it here. And go ahead and delete that one because that was for the chainlet puzzle, which we have solved. Okay. There it is. Whew. Now we can finally save and be happy that we don't have to do that first trek to the Chamber of Extinction again. Also, nicely, there is one of those lanterns right above the save point, meaning that when we teleport back here in the future, there will be no need to go hunting for a lantern. We can light it up from the beginning. In the same way that green references items, red tends to reference bosses that you're going to fight in the future. Mostly mini-bosses. In this case, we have 3 mini-bosses: Oxhead, Horseface, and Nua. They will be fought late game. So as you can see, there's a, you know, I should probably head back and heal up for a bit. Because, well, that first trek through the Chamber of Extinction is always the hardest, because before you get even close to the save point, you have to deal with Hecatoncheires. Now this room can be a bit difficult because the only way to get up onto here is to use that platform. The god who sustains the world shall disperse the darkness. Look where the shell in the left hand points. This is something we want to save. Now, what's up here? Okay, what the heck is this area? Oh, shit. This must be another one of those, tablets that we can't read yet. We also can't get anywhere up in this room without, a certain movement thing from later. That platform is just barely wide enough to keep you from jumping around the edge and on top of it. So instead, we're just going to break the wall right here. And then, hell. Welcome to Invisible Walls Hell. There are some pits here that will dump you out on the bottom. You have no idea where they are. Have fun. Well, there's one right there. Yeah, it does. Proceed through... Well, there's your hint to go through the wall. Proceed through the wall. Can't really get more clear-cut than that. There's a couple places in this area because the some of the pot textures are identical to wall textures that they hide shit in walls. Also, this area has fucking wall masters that come out of various surfaces and hit you. Oh! This, my friends, is a luck fairy. And it's the best fairy in the game. I will explain why during a pause because I don't want to waste even a second of its duration. So, what the luck fairy, sometimes known as the item fairy, does is, well, makes you lucky. What does lucky entail? Every single pot you break open will have coins in it. Enemies will also drop a fuck ton of coins too, but the important bit is the pots. Because you can do this. This will be your #1 money-making strategy in this entire game. There's a similar area to this in the second game that is specifically designed for cheesing the item fairies, but it's slightly harder to get to because they changed how pot respawning through off-screen scrolling works. Those particular pots in the second game don't respawn unless you reload the whole area by teleporting back to the entrance. And there is a shortcut from there to the entrance, but it's just much less efficient than, well, doing this. What I do in some of my normal games is, specifically RNG manipulate for an item fairy, and then just teleport right here. But, I'm probably not going to do a ton of that in this one, but being given a fucking free item fairy in the area, like literally a screen away from the area where you can cheese the shit out of item fairies, was just a bit too good to pass up. Alright. With our renewed vigor, let's attempt this, this again. Like I said, this is hell. Just trying to get to that seal down there. I'm an idiot. Oh, wonderful. You know, just in time. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and wait here until that light goes out, so I can turn it back on and reset the timer. There we go. Okay. Jump up on here. Over to here. In the middle. That's a very scary moment, but that actually is a floor. Yeah, Chamber of Extinction has fucking great music. Eh. Finally. You might be able to see there's actually a weird semi-transparent other seal there. That's for a later puzzle. So what did we just do? Well, we opened that chest. And that chest contains the third seal we need to unlock shit. So, as hellish as it all was, that puzzle does have a very good reward. Guardian lurks at the front. If the Guardian isn't there, then it will be in the back. That is how these runes work. The Endless Corridor is the only exception to this rule. He words it a little bit of a complicated way, but what he's saying is, you know how each area has a front side and a back side? Like the back side of the Temple of the Sun is the Temple of the Moonlight, the back side of the Mausoleum of the Giants is the Graveyard of the Giants, and so forth. The boss of an area will always be somewhere in the front of that area. So you won't find a boss in, well, Guardian boss. You'll find mini-bosses, but you won't find a Guardian in the back of any area. You won't find one in the Temple of the Moonlight, for example. Now, a Guardian may not be visible in the front, but in that case, you'll just have to enter the front from a different area. Often, you'll want to enter a separate area of the front from the back, which is, in fact, the case with the Chamber of Extinction, because we actually went through all of the Chamber of Extinction that can be accessed right now, and we didn't actually find anyone. Just that seal. This is because there is a secret second half of the Chamber of Extinction that can only be accessed by its backside area. But then he noted an exception to the rule, which is the Endless Corridor. The Endless Corridor is essentially a backside area that's been switched. It's meant to be inaccessible from the beginning through the whole front side, but for whatever reason, it's been switched with its own front side area so that the boss is actually hidden in the backside of the chamber, the Endless Corridor. If that was all really complicated, don't worry, it'll make much more sense later. So now that we've explored there, we have a couple of things to do here. Kill this thing. We will be able to make it up here. And I completely forgot that I can't actually reach this yet. You know what? Give me like a minute. We're gonna go ahead and grab something perhaps a tiny bit earlier than we should, but it's gonna make everything quite a bit easier. So we're gonna go back here. And open that. Then we attempt to kill that enemy before he life drains us. And then we deal with these ghosts. Yeah, those floating blue and red things, they are spirits. We will get shot in the back by a statue head. That's a thing that's gonna happen. And then I'm going to fall off the edge like a dumbass. We're trying to essentially just drill through this area of wall, which releases a bunch of bats, but also opens up the wall. Those seeking Eden solve the 4 puzzles, search out the place they point towards. We've almost got all the clues we need for the Seeking Eden puzzle. By the way, fun little note here. You see the carving right next to me? To my direct right? I'm gonna go down. Back up. And it's changed. Also, it's Michael Jackson. So, that thing that just happened was kind of me being an idiot and accidentally solving a puzzle earlier than I was supposed to. I was about to examine it to see if it had any cool text, but I forgot that examining the Michael Jackson carving is part of a puzzle. You see, those seeking Eden open the 4 boxes, seek the 4 pedestals, beneath the dancing man's feet in a place bathed in moonlight. All of these things that we've been searching for, with 2 exceptions, have essentially been instructions on 4 places to examine in the Temple of Moonlight. And one of them is the Michael Jackson carving. this point, I think what we do is get up here. No, it's not there yet. We first... Yes, the carving. There we go. So, if you didn't, if you weren't there, Frog, the carving to my direct right now is a little carving of Michael Jackson. And he's a puzzle solution. Okay. This is one of the spots where we have to be very careful, because not only can the bats easily knock you back down, but we're right next to the pyramid, and even from outside the pyramid, you're still subject to its rules of no weapons. The entire pyramid is a sacred object that will zap us with lightning. Luckily, however, we've managed to make it all the way to the top. And that's the end, right? Well, one more little thing here. There is a completely optional secret entire room here. You don't have to do anything in this room to finish the game, and in fact we can't do anything for quite a while. But it'll be pretty fun later. And we have another one of those tablets that basically at this point those let us know that just we haven't progressed far enough in the game yet. So nicely, this gives us a little way back. And doing that whole puzzle ended up opening a room down here. Which has nothing in it. I'm going to tell you right now, do not try to fight this guy. All of his attacks kill you instantly. Instead, let's head out and heal. What we just saw was Anubis, the Lord of the Dead. The area we are in, if you look at the room name, it's actually called the Underworld, which is a bit of a funny note, especially regarding the second game. But then again, second game has all sorts of complicated lore implications for this one, which I won't get into right now. The important part is that currently Anubis is invincible. So let's make him vincible. You're supposed to basically look around the game for a while, figuring out what the hell could allow you to defeat this evil creature, until you finally go to Mulbrook for help. An enemy that sucks life? Does it happen to have a dog-like head? That's probably Anubis. It seems he's the god of the dead. If you had what's known as the Book of the Dead, then it wouldn't be able to suck your life. But Mulbrook don't know where that is. Oh. What Mulbrook have in Mulbrook's hand right now is the Book of the Dead. So here, you can have it. Yep, Mulbrook is the solution to that puzzle. She just happens to have the MacGuffin. And it quite literally is a MacGuffin. Like, the Book of the Dead does absolutely nothing except sealing the powers of Anubis. Although, technically it prevents all life drain effects in the game, but since the only enemies that drain life are the ones in the Temple of the Sun that look like Anubis anyway. No, you cannot be screwed out of seeing that conversation, thankfully. That the game is not unwinnable. And actually, I've recently found out that the important conversation that you can be screwed out of seeing, there's another way to get that information anyway. So, in actuality, Mulbrook is in fact a pure hint system with information you can get elsewhere. A lot of people call the Rolling Shuriken useless. No, the Caltrops are pretty much useless. The Rolling Shuriken actually does have some uses for hitting bosses at a low angle. This guy always does the backwards jump when you are behind him. Unfortunately, this attack is still annoying as hell. Didn't hit a save point. Okay, this time, let's save before we try to kill Anubis again. But yeah, you can't at all be screwed out of seeing the Anubis conversation because it works differently from other conversations with Mulbrook. It triggers automatically as the next conversation, no matter where in the game you are, as long as you have run into Anubis at least once. And that's how you actually deal with that one. And in return, we get the Serpent Staff, which triggered approximately 3 messages from Zelpud. Pretty much because we triggered 3 triggers at once. The Serpent Staff is actually our first usable item that isn't the hand scanner, which means if we equip it, we can press the item button to just hold it up. So let's see what Zelpud has to say. First off, since we got a usable item, items that are better used than not. It's me. Some treasures ain't real helpful till you actually put them to use. You can select items through the item menu just like you choose weapons. Go ahead, try it. Once you set that up, press the item button to see what happens. There are even some treasures that aren't activated till you hold them in your hands. Have fun trying different items out. At this point, we got a certain number of emails. As you can see, we have gotten quite a few. And at a certain number of them, I believe probably about 34 emails, because this is email 35, you get an email called My Secret. It's me. Isn't it strange how I know how your adventures are going? I can see through everything. Well, I think I have a pretty good idea of how Zelpud can see what we're doing, considering that, well, note how the Mobile Super X, as you can see on the screen, has a webcam? Yes, Zelpud Mailer is spyware. He can hijack your fucking laptop webcam so he can see everything you're doing. If you find an item you're not quite sure about, bring it to me. If I know anything about it, I'll tell you. Well, let's do that. If we bring Zelpud the Serpent Staff, he tells us what it does. Oh, so you came across the Serpent Staff. There's a monster called Argus near the altar on the edge of the village. We need to make an offering to the shrine, but that monster's in the way, and we can't take it down without the Serpent Staff. So really, this is perfect. Get down there and take him out. This also is not a conversation you can get screwed out of, because this is activated by equipping the item before you enter the room. Of course, you don't actually need Zelpud's help on this one. Oh, hello. This guy will also tell you the same thing. We actually saw him at the beginning of the game. Argus, a monster with a blue body covered in eyes, is weak against the Serpent Staff. And here's Argus. Let's equip the Serpent Staff, raise it up a few times, and then start hitting him. And now, we can get to the Altar Hill. Well, I did just do the villagers a huge favor, so, I think we deserve a reward. Let's see what they've got for offering. Feather. Okay. Cool, a feather. It's me. You took the treasure from our village's shrine, didn't you? Thief! That was an offering by the villagers. Oh well, the feather has a strange power. Press jump button while you're jumping. It'll let you jump twice. You'll be able to jump further and higher than before, and even if you fall from a high place, you might be able to get by with a mini jump. You're gonna have to pay for your thievery one day. We now have the double jump. And suddenly, movement just got 1,000 times easier for the rest of the game. Indeed. Also, hey Zeno! Good to see you. Okay. Right. Oh yeah. I've never actually played World of Warcraft myself. Everyone's going to laugh at me for admitting this, but I was a RuneScape person. And I haven't really played any MMOs since, although I was briefly seduced by, and still have account information that I might go back to someday for Lord of the Rings Online. Also, here's our map. How is World of Warcraft anyway? I've heard very mixed things about it. Anyway, we can, there's a lot of, new things we can do in this area with the double jump. Which sucks because I kind of wanted to leave this area behind me. Oh well. Yeah, God. It's like every single time I want to play it some more, I try to reinstall it, and I dig up my old account information. But it's just such a long install and takes up so much space on my drive. But I really should get back to it one of these days for real. Good to hear, actually. World of Warcraft, it's always kind of been beyond my radar, although I did enjoy playing Warcraft 3 back in the day. Yeah, this puzzle. Basically, you just have to have the double jump to jump up there and push down these blocks, and then more double jump to get up here. So you can push down this block. And then just go ahead and do this. Now, this doesn't initially appear to do anything, but it actually did something very important. Opened this. And now we get the ROM Future Development Company. This Mirai.exe is one of the most important ROMs in the game, because it allows us to warp to backside areas. It's me! I'm bored, so I'm playing my favorite Nigoro game. Don't you got some Nigoro games on your laptop too? If you have one, I don't, let me try it. Yes, Mirai Nikki, we all know. I've never actually watched that show. I probably should at some point, just because it, like, not even because it might be good, but just because it's something everyone references when talking about, like, yanderes is fucking Yunogasai or whatever the fuck her name is, but, like, I'm so uninterested in the whole thing. Anyway, we have the gauntlet. The gauntlet makes us use all of our weapons much faster, and basically makes the axe completely overpowered. I don't know if that's the correct way to pronounce the company's name, like Nero. That's how I've always heard it pronounced, but yeah, I don't know. It does sound very unfortunate, but, you know, Japanese game company not necessarily thinking about how their company's name sounds to people outside the Japanosphere. Okay, so, this particular puzzle is a tad bit weird, but I think we can deal with it at this point. Okay, so the first thing we do is let that one go. Then this one. And then the final Seeking Eden. This has created a stack down here. And, well, the trick is you go through here. And now we can reach the Graveyard of the Giants. And once you actually get this tablet, Zelpud emails you to let you know that there's a software that can let you warp to backside areas. But we already have that software, so you are very late to the party, Zelpud. And here we get in the back route to the Temple of Moonlight. This area can be somewhat difficult to open up if you don't really know what you're doing. But more importantly, we finally have all of the tablets and information that we need for the Eden puzzle. Oh, he explains in the email. When you load the software on the computer, it sends out like radio wavelengths, like fucking Wi-Fi, that resonate in a certain way with the Holy Grail and allow it to do stuff it couldn't normally. This is basically telling you how to get to the underworld, but we've already done that, so yeah. Let's grab a healing fairy. Yeah, it is pretty ridiculous, isn't it? Anyway, I probably don't have to tell you that that pedestal is a huge trap. It's gonna make the spikes fall on us. So what's the point of this room if it's only one trap and a tablet and like a fairy point? You could put you could put two of those things elsewhere. Well, we've already found the Dancing Man's feet. That was earlier. Go Seeking Eden, open the 4 boxes, seek the 4 pedestals, find the source of a phenomenal trap in a place bathed in moonlight. You just have to examine the pedestal. Okay, Here's another one. Okay, within the hands of the four who reside in a place bathed in moonlight. You see those four hands pointing to a specific spot on the wall there? And before we head back up, now, I don't fully quite remember how precisely this puzzle works. So I'm going to leave it for a bit. Theoretically, when you finish the puzzle, you have free access between the Graveyard of the Giants and the Temple of the Moonlight, but that's not something we need immediately, so I'm going to leave it for now. The final one of the four areas we have to examine almost managed it. I should also probably examine this weird cross that we've been seeing around. A cross that can be found at various locations, all were placed at a later time. As you can now see, there are pedestals scattered all over this room. As you can also see, I'm a dumbass. The final one stand before a face of the highest rank. And there you go. I'm going to quickly head back to the surface now to get some more weights, because we're down to 2, and we are going to need a hell of a lot more than 2. 27 seems pretty good. And now, because we have Mirai, we can just head back. So now we have 4 pedestals and 4 small chests. There's a very specific order you have to open these in to make the chests open in sequence. This is usually done through trial and error and losing a lot of weights, but I'll just tell you the sequence. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we get the Fruit of Eden. And finally, we can actually start exploring Eden, one of my favorite areas in the game. Remember this place? Let's just go through it again real quick. A paradise deep in the fog. Clear the fog and you will be surrounded by more happiness. Head for the Tree of Eden with the Fruit of Paradise in hand. And now that we have the Fruit of Eden, right here, there's a little pedestal right here next to the Tree of Eden. Welcome to the Gate of Illusion. Welcome to the paradise of the eternally lost. In times past, this place was called Eden. Now it is an accursed site of war where vengeful spirits are lost, wandering the paths of life. Those who enter Eden do not make light of this place. Simply wandering will not lessen the illusion. Courage will grant thy wish. The courage to jump into the illusion. The courage to search on bended knee for a single fallen item. It's me. You think there's nothing there, then all of a sudden you find yourself on a strange path. Just a story I heard in the village. What looks like a dead end might actually warp you to another place. How strange. But then again, strange is the norm in La Mulana. This tablet says nothing. So, here's a hell of a puzzle. One fool believed in his foolishness that he was a wise man. The fool flaunted his shallow wisdom and made decisions with a narrow mind. He proceeded to the right without hesitation. Another fool possessed wisdom, but his knowledge led him to believe he was a fool. A fool who smothers himself without first considering the situation. He went with the flow and proceeded to the left. One can only hope that a true wise man stands here now. So, there's the question. Are you a wise man or a fool? Left or right? Frog, you got it. Both left and right lead to dead ends. Here's what you gotta do. Examine this light on the wall. Fall through the floor. Thy understanding is impressive, wise one. Be thee a wise man or a fool. Thine actions shall reveal the truth, in hopes that thou art a true wise man. Yeah, the Gate of Illusion is just kind of like this. It's also like this. Once we pass 4 of these boxes, that treasure chest opens. How lovely. So we actually went into that particular puzzle a tiny bit backwards, but there's an alternate entrance to the Gate of Illusion right here. Previously, it was blocked with a big block showing the Fruit of Paradise. And this is all we need to do. More coins. So I should probably tell you how you actually get to the rest of the area from this save point. It's a bit dumb. See, instead of just walking left, you basically have to come out here. This area isn't open yet because we need to get further in the game. So you need to use the elevator to get back up to where you were. Have I mentioned I don't like the Graveyard of the Giants, and that it's the worst area in this game? I feel like I should reiterate that. That's another reason why, because you'll get situations like that where just walking into a new area, there's an enemy positioned directly in your path that if you don't immediately stop walking, you will run into, he'll knock you back, and then you'll slide off the screen. It's infuriating. But anyway. Now that we've got this whole path open, we can go down here. Up here. I should probably equip my shield. And now we have our chest. So let's welcome to the Gate of Illusion, guys! Also, we have 666 coins. Real talk, actually, I was not aware that, that exploding treasure chest just does damage. I actually have always thought it was an instant kill, because every time I opened it by accident, it just killed me instantly. It looks like I had just barely enough money to health to not die. As a side note, and just in case you hear me referring to it by the wrong name, the Gate of Illusion is one of the few areas that actually changed names between the freeware and remake versions of the game. Originally, to balance out its front side area, the Guidance Gate, it was called the Confusion Gate. And it didn't really have an illusion theme, more of the puzzles just kick you in the ass theme. They added the whole Eden puzzle and illusion thing in the remake, and renamed it the Gate of Illusion to, well, fit with the new name for the Gate of Guidance. So, to reach the next part, we basically just have to do this. Teleport around a bit. So, you remember, if you notice, we just got one shuriken from that. Do you remember that, this thing? The courage to search on bended knee for a single fallen item. That was a single shuriken that fell, and shuriken normally come in packs of 10 when they come out of chests. Oh, that's not rice, that's curry. Yeah, he eats curry and then falls asleep. But the point is, if you press down to, you know, bend the knee for a single fallen item where that pot was, you fall into this area. And we're going to have to do that sequence again because there was a bit of an issue. Pot. And yeah, unlike other pots that only give their thing once, just to make sure you don't miss the puzzle, that pot gives you a single shuriken every single time. So then you just have to avoid the teleport back that's directly in front of this, because that last teleport out puts you one frame ahead of it, which means you can just walk through the wall into here. And then we get this area. This water is flowing backwards. It's actually defying gravity and going up into the dinosaur's mouth. And we actually can't get down there, because we just get thrown back up. So how do we solve this conundrum? Well, why don't we ask this lovely gentleman over in this room here. A favor to ask of the one who disturbs my slumber. There's something I need you to do for me. If you don't want to, get out of my face! So anyways, the fairies hid the treasures I had fraudulently collected. What? What's wrong with fraud? I heart fraud. It seems like the fairies made some sort of giant face swallow the treasure. And what better way to make one spit things up than pepper? He gives us pepper. How about it? You bring the treasures back to me and I'll pay you 500 gold. Achoo! Yikes, got pepper up my nose. If I can't get my beloved treasures back, I can't rest peacefully, and it's killing me. So go on and look for it. Don't come back until you find it. Okay. That's a very rude skeleton, but we do in fact need to go search for the treasures. Let's start by going to, I forgot to equip the pepper, so now he's just saying this. There's actually a hidden dungeon underneath my home. Nah, just kidding. Oh, what perfect timing. I was eating a bat salad, but I want to add a bit of extra punch to the flavor. Give me that pepper. Ah, it really brings out that bitter bat taste. So, the skeleton said that some fairies hid his treasure by making a giant face swallow it. The solution to this one is in the Gate of Guidance, actually. So, all of the giant Olmec heads have their mouths open, except for this one. So if we go up and put pepper in front of its nose, it spits up treasures. Treasures collected through shady means. There's some drool from the face statue on it. Alrighty, now we just have to get back to that guy, and he'll give us 500 gold, which will put us actually over 1,000, so we can get all the things we'd ever want. Ah, my beloved treasure. Gross! It's covered in slimy spit! How dare you get my treasures all sticky? You don't deserve anything more than this piece of junk. Obtained anchor. Get out of my face! Don't you ever come back! What a jerk. Well, at the very least... Oh, fuck, I forgot I can't double jump out of water. The skeleton's tantrum has, in fact, allowed us to traverse the upwards flowing water. The fool who relies only on what his eyes do see shall wander the labyrinth for eternity. Basically a reminder, nothing is as it seems in the Gate of Illusion. Here's why this is here. You can just jump straight through those walls. Doing so gets rid of that block. Want to become small? Thou art small already. I shall bestow upon thee this mini doll. Would this prove that thou art indeed small? Okay. I guess. As I recall, we could put that specific quest on the back burner for a little bit. So I think at least one of these puzzles... Did it? Shoot. Now I'm getting confused. Alright, I better do the mini doll puzzle anyway, just in case. So, we have a doll. We're supposed to use this doll to prove that we're small. Zelpud, help. What's up with that dirty doll? You use it to prove you're a little man? That don't make a lick of sense. Why don't you try using it in a place that makes you look like a little man? Now there's a question. Where have we been that could make us look small? I look pretty small right now, don't I? This will work with any giant statue in the Mausoleum of the Giants, or any giant corpse in the graveyard. very least, the nice thing about this area is the hot spring that, you know, you have to go through knockback hell to get to. Oh! Right, that's how... God. Okay. I'm an idiot. I forgot how you're actually supposed to do this. Okay. Where was that it? Shoot. Okay, so I may actually be legitimately lost. Alright, let's see if this works at all. Nope, this guy just repeats his thing because, of course, the mini doll is only useful later. Okay. No, I don't believe Mulbrook can help us here. This is just a maneuvering through type puzzle. It's probably more teleports. Right. Okay, that's what it was. I fucking remember now. You gotta do... And I'm sorry that, like, half of this stream is gonna be in these, like, 2 fucking rooms. So you go here. And there's a warp right here. So, trap. Big trap. So, I wasn't actually able to get to that tablet, but it basically says complete the 5 before the 1 is finished. Basically, you have to do this. During the animation of this weight pushing down the pedestal, you have to put weights on all 5 of these. And once you've done that, the only way out is back to the beginning. And now, finally... Sorry, some of that pepper must have gotten to me. We can make it up to this room. By opening up that wall, you can give yourself a space for the block. These 3 tablets all say the same thing. To the living, it is not too late. Give up and turn back. The illusions will only continue. Oh yeah, the big smiley face? Yeah, it's pretty great. Ah, a weapon fairy. Weapon fairies are pretty fun. Here's what they do. They endlessly throw infinite copies of whatever sub-weapon you have equipped. They're pretty much the most useless fairy, but they do have some uses here and there for certain bosses where you want to have a lot of weapons. Yes, I suppose so. Oh, here it is. Secret room. Problem is that you can't have a weapon fairy and a shield at the same time. So lizards are bitches. Also, weapon fairies can very easily activate, you know, stuff that zaps you with lightning. Oh yeah, caltrops also. I commend thee for reaching this place, wise one. Now free thyself of doubt and delusion. This is a pushable block. So, you would have expected that to deactivate that laser light. It instead does 2 things. First, it creates that down ladder. Also, while we're at it, this guy sells software, but it's not software we need right now. But yeah, there's actually no way to get rid of that light. And that's the only thing that's keeping us from the Grail tablet. Bye-bye, Weapon Fairy. That's because the other thing it did is just open a gap in the floor instead. So we can reach both sides of this laser easily, we just can never get rid of it. And finally, we can teleport to the Gate of Illusion. First off, we're going to need to get rid of all the bats in this room for something. Shit. Hopefully that didn't respawn the bats. That would be bad. There we go. That basically makes a treasure obtainable later, through the fourth kind of fairy that we haven't met yet. Be a little man, only the small shall proceed. Yep. As long as we had that mini doll and had completed the prove your small puzzle, that area just opens. So let's continue. One-way door. Oh. Those who do not listen do not make light of the words of others. To come so far, blinded by pride at thine own powers, thou art a true fool. A fool deserves naught but death. Say hello to Chi-Yu. He's a hell monster with every single one of your sub-weapons a shield that allows him to block damage, and all of that blood dripping down on him is healing him. It is pretty much impossible to beat this guy in a damage race. So, there's the big puzzle of the Gate of Illusion. How do we deal with Chi-Yu? Well, first, by not going down into his room like a dumbass. Second, by seeing how the mechanism works. See that lady with the candle? That is the sacrificial pit. Essentially, the way this works is that infinite sacrificial maidens with candles spawn from that lamp, fall into the pit, and are destroyed on its spikes. Their blood drips down and heals Chi-Yu. More unreadable text. We have a message from Zelpud. Ah, he's finally fixed the unreadable text problem. It's me. I called the developers of the Glyph Reader. In order to translate the older writing, you gotta have the reader scan both a new bit of writing and an old bit of writing that say the same thing. It'll compare the two versions of script and the software's dictionary will learn. But reading just once ain't enough. You need to have the reader scan at least 4 scriptures that say the same thing in both the new and old text. So we're looking for 4 Rosetta Stone tablets throughout the game. I agree, Frogmire. This whole sacrificial maiden thing is pretty depressing. Luckily, we can make it stop. Now, this is a bit of a weird thing. Visually, the ghost maidens still fall through the this bridge we've just put down. They shouldn't, because this has just blocked off the sacrificial pit. He who reads this stone tablet, art thou a wise man or a fool? We must hope that thou possess the wisdom of a wise man. So, this did a couple things. First off, it opened up the Gate of Confusion, the Gate of Illusion a bit. See, I told you I'd get it wrong at some point. This makes Chi-Yu beatable. Wise words, Patchouli. Now, there's also this. The Tower of Ruin. We were here briefly before, but we didn't do much. So, annoyingly enough, some of these pillars zap you if you hit them, and some don't. You just have to know which one. If it wasn't obvious for the record, the Tower of Ruin is the backside of the Inferno Cavern. You know, with all the fire and such. And this way is called the Approach of the Philosophers. Careful here, because there's a lot of places in the Tower of Ruin where you can get crushed by, well, crushers. This does not appear to be one of them, though. Yeah, it really does kind of look like Cave Story levels. I played Cave Story a long time ago, so my memory might be a bit wonky, but this definitely does remind me. It's just this huge, like, steam engine in the middle of this cave system. Yet another one of these. Still no Rosetta Stones. And a lovely Tower of Ruin tablet. So, here's a pretty obvious puzzle. Oh, also this. The glowing red crucifix is a beacon that connects the seen and the unseen. I'm going to record that here because that's a pretty important thing. But yeah. Obvious pedestal. No way to get to it through a one-way door. How do you deal with it? You just swing your axe at everything, because there's no Eye of Divine Retribution on the screen. This opens up a hidden shop. I restock supplies. That's snapshots. It analyzes images. I will buy. Fully loaded. This software will not be useful for quite a bit of the game, but we need it to finish the game. Software these days is amazing. It's me. Among the existing software, some of them show off special functions when loaded at the same time. Some software combinations might emit a wavelength that triggers something in the ruins, boosting your powers or strength. Kinda amazing, huh? This is a hint that software combinations exist. We'll be looking at those in a later episode. That boss is an annoying jerk, so I'm not sad that I beat him up with the axe. These salamander guys are jerks if you let them split up into pieces. Oh great bird, give us mercy. Will crushing that hand bring us mercy? Gonna save that one as well. That's important for later. No, it does not refer to the bird we just fought. This area can be a bit treacherous because, yeah, I just got hit out of nowhere. There's something in this area that is perfectly capable of just hitting you out of thin air. Luckily, this is the first of the Rosetta Stones. And it's actually something we want to save as well. The goddess of the mountain changes her form into the goddess that loves blood and war. To assuage her anger, thou must get down on the ground and pray. So before I do anything else, I'm gonna go back, heal up a bit. So, the Gate of Illusion may seem to have been like a huge step up in puzzle difficulty. It's basically a, just kind of a preview of what most of the rest of the game is going to be like. It's not even the most, like, puzzle-heavy area in the game. That's probably the, what's the place I'm looking for? Probably the backside of the Chamber of Extinction, actually. It's just that the Gate of Illusion is the first time most players run into that kind of puzzle-heavy, ridiculous bullshit. So this time, let's go this direction. Skanda, a large clay doll, the one who holds the golden key which soars through the skies. So as I said before, red text equals later boss. I know, right? One of the things about this game is that even though the actual combat and stuff is pretty easy, it's still a really hard game because even though the puzzles are absolutely fair, they're just so fucking difficult to actually figure out. It's like solving riddles more than puzzles. Okay. So here's a nasty one. We have 6 characters on the wall. these characters can be stood on and can be destroyed. We have to destroy a couple of them in a certain order, or else we fall through the floor. Luckily, we don't actually have to, do this yet, so we can put it off for a bit. Is there a... I think it's probably somewhere in this area. Yeah, like, as much as I hate calling anything the Dark Souls of blank, this is probably, just in terms of reputation and, like, sheer... the level to which it pushes its own mechanics, this is probably something you could call the Dark Souls of puzzle platformers, even though, makes me feel dirty saying that. Coming into the area through this direction nets us the Earth Spear, which in this game at least, because it will become a mainstay weapon in the second game, is quite possibly the most useless sub-weapon in the game besides the Caltrops. Anyway. A kind and mischievous spirit. A lonely and mischievous spirit. She means no harm with her mischief. No damage done by unintentional mischief. Let's record that. So, what's the problem with the Earth Spear? Well, the problem is it fires in the single most useless direction of any sub-weapon. Straight down. And it's required for exactly one puzzle. This one. And we're back in the Inferno Cavern. And if you noticed, a pedestal just got carried up on some sort of lift. Those who have made it this far, we have chosen thee. Come to us. We shall answer the tune of thine ocarina. So the first thing to do here is, because we're in a room that we could never actually access before in the Inferno Cavern, we want to open that up. Now we can just get to this room. Second thing, and this is actually why the Ice Cape is a necessary item for game completion. Also, shop up here. Sells something called Space Capture 2. That's another game that we're not going to be getting until later. See, to get through the Inferno Cavern like we did, there was never actually a need to go into lava, and thus no need for the Ice Cape besides getting around this place easier. However, if you see that pedestal that just appeared there, because this area is directly above the Darkness Sanctuary that we just came out of. We need to go all the way down here. So it's hard to show, but if you remember way back when, there's some items that I passed over, the heat-proof case and the waterproof case. Essentially, in this game, you actually physically can't open any menus except the basic pause menu when you're in lava. Like, this menu right here, the item menu, software menu, any of those menus, I'm hammering on the buttons right now, but I can't because my laptop doesn't have a heat-proof case. Thing is, that's not actually that big of a problem, because you very rarely need to use the laptop while you're in lava. Because if you've just fallen in lava and want to get out quickly, the main pause menu is where you use the Holy Grail from, and that is entirely doable when you're in lava. In fact, Lemeza will eat curry and fall asleep while submersed in boiling lava. What a champ. So that's the explanation as to why I consider the element-proof cases pretty useless items. And the designers seem to have agreed with me because those items are just straight up gone in the second game. And you're assumed to have them by default. It's just, you know, not something that players really want to pay for. So what did that whole debacle do? Well, it gave us an Ankh. Because this is our 5th Guardian boss room. Problem is, we don't have any Ankh jewels. So. Let's head back. And then head to the Gate of Illusion. Because we kind of got sidetracked by the Tower of Ruin there. And hopefully, now that he doesn't have his healing bullshit on, we can defeat Shiyu. Basically, the way you kill this guy is on the ground, you have to bait out his shield and then smack him in the face a couple times with your axe. He's not too difficult. He's mostly just a complicated memorization sequence. Once, well, movement sequence. Chi-Yu? I'd have to look that up. I think he's some sort of a Chinese deity. Got him. And then the souls of the departed open up the chest and give us the Key of Eternity. And unfortunately, I waited a bit too long, and now we have to do the whole fight over because a certain amount of time after you defeat Chi-Yu, that just falls on top of your head. Yeah, it's one of 2 really nasty Kaizo traps in the game. The other one is directly after a Guardian. And one of the harder Guardians, too. Once the Kaiser trap finishes, a new elevator will appear to take you out of Shiyu's house. And what we get out of this is the Key of Eternity, which will let us progress in the Endless Corridor. Now here's where I'm running into a bit of a weird roadblock, because the puzzle for the for those wall-based letters in the Tower of Ruin, I know exactly how to solve it, but I don't remember where the second hint actually is. So I could solve it, but, like, the hint, though. So I'm probably going to have to remind myself where that tablet is, if that's okay with you guys. Or I could, you know, just recite the tablet because I remember exactly what it says. I just need to show where it physically is. Either way, though, we can continue in the Endless Corridor. So much earlier in the Endless Corridor. Oh, also this. Access to the Endless Shop. Which doesn't do anything interesting right now. It'll eventually be a good shop, but right now it's basically nothing. Call forth the dragon that sleeps in this land. Follow the true flow, and the answer shall be entrusted to the dragon. Basically, it points out a keyhole with an infinity symbol on top of it. As a reminder, the way the Endless Corridor works is that if you go into the door at the end, you get worked back out at the beginning. So what we do is we grab the Endless Key and create a path forward. Now, for Hell Puzzle. This is where, to a certain extent, the random dialogue system for Mulbrook can screw you over, because she's the one who explains how to read numbers in La Mulanese. Yes, it is. See, all of these doorways have La Mulanese numerals on them. And each La Mulanese numeral corresponds to a word, which is why, for example, the origin seal has that particular symbol on it. That is the number 1. That's the number 2, which is birth, and number 3 is life. So this doorway right above me is the origin door, or the 1 door. So we know birth and life, but reproduction and ascension are numbers that we don't know, because they're not on seals. This you have to get from Mulbrook. As far as I can tell, there's no other way to get the meaning of these things. Fortunate, and yeah, you can miss that conversation and basically never know how to solve this puzzle. Fortunately, it doesn't actually matter, because if you just pass all of the doors, you'll eventually get the right combination, because it doesn't matter which doors that you go through in between the ones that are correct. You just have to go through the 4 correct doors in the correct order. But that's lame, so I'm going to do my best to actually solve this puzzle for real in probably a later episode. But this is a fun puzzle. So this is obviously a weapon. We've seen this block hiding weapons before. And it's pretty much always going to hit you with lightning. You can look all over this room. There's nothing you can activate to get rid of this block. Here's the thing, though. There's also no Eye of Divine Retribution in this room, which means nothing can hit you with lightning. You just smack it until it opens. And you get the Keyblade, or Key Sword in this version. Sadly, especially because it's awesome, the Keyblade is one of the weakest weapons in the game. It has good range, but it's basically got about as much damage as the regular whip. It's just a bit faster. And now that we have the fast axe, which is only a slight bit slower than the Keyblade, but does about 3 times as much damage. Wow. Either way. Let's see what we can still do around here. There was a race that recorded their knowledge on the walls. This knowledge will operate in a mechanical box as a virtual wise man. It shall awaken should a wise man read the mural. That is a really complicated way of saying if you use the snapshot software that you just got from this area, you can read stuff on walls that's encoded into a computer program. Ah, here it was. Okay. This is that second hint. Follow the name that means unnamed. If you've been paying attention, you'll note that this tablet from the Graveyard of the Giants said that Moo is the nameless one. And here's the real trick. And this is an extremely clever little thing. If we go back to the graveyard, And back to where the actual tablet version of this was, here's a clever thing you can do. Since we know that's what it says, let's unequip the glyph reader software. And now, since we know what it says already, we can look at which characters make up the name Mu. It'll be the first two characters on the top left of this screen. Which means, by going back to the Tower of Ruin, we can get the specific 2 that we need and grab the Ankh Jewel. Now, before anything else, back to the surface. Heal. And before I do this, I'm actually going to take a gamble and see if Mulbrook is actually going to give us the hint that we need. So this is not the hint that we need, but it is a good hint. A field covered in darkness, you say? Actually, that's right next door. Mulbrook think there's a way to make it bright, but it's difficult. First, you have to solve the riddle of the God of the Light in the Chamber of Birth. Then there will be a change in the Chamber of Extinction. It's still far ahead. Be patient and don't be hasty. Here's another hint as to reading laptop shit off the walls. That thing you have, it's called a laptop, correct? How fancy. Mulbrook has seen something similar before. There's a wall with directions on how to make one of those things move written on it. So there's an interesting bit of lore. Mulbrook's people, the four philosophers, had access to laptop computers. Yeah, no, Mulbrook isn't going to tell us the thing we need. So instead, let's head to the Inferno Cavern. And prepare for a bitch of a fight. This may not be, like, objectively the hardest boss in the game. It's always the one I have the most trouble with. I've recently been getting better at fighting him, but in general it's always been a struggle. Mostly because he has a really mean gimmick. Meet V. Yes, those of you who play Fate Grand Order and are up to date on the Japanese version, this is Anastasia's Noble Phantasm. So this is an upward scrolling boss battle. With giant laser beams, and if you touch V, then your health starts draining super fast, which can put you in a bad situation very quickly. Now this is one case where having the this is one case where having the rolling shurikens can be really useful. Yes, his I-beam does hit his tentacles. That's a interesting little thing that gets me killed. But yes, his I-beam does damage his own tentacles, which, by the way, those aren't tentacles, those are eyelashes. Yeah, you're starting to see why I don't like this guy. Yes, it is V. V-I-Y. Yeah. Yeah. It is a cool day. Sorry I'm ignoring comments at the moment, but I'm terrified. I'm actually extremely far into the fight, and hopefully I'll be able to kill him in just a moment. But it's just, I hate this boss so much. I am completely out. It's too dangerous to, Oh! 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 Rolling Shuriken! Excuse me for a moment. Victory. Thanks, guys. And you end up here. Yeah, no, V is Ukrainian, isn't it? Which is, like, it's near Russia, and it's historically been part of the Soviet Union occasionally, but calling it Russia might be a bit, there's been some tensions, as I recall. So, you might have noticed these are areas of the Chamber of Extinction we haven't seen. This is because V's boss room drops you straight down into this part of the thing. Oh! Alright, take it away, Patchy. Yeah, I mentioned the connection to FGO and Anastasia earlier in the fight, because it's honestly pretty cool. Like, that's how I figure people who have played FGO will be, like, reacting to V in this game. But it was actually the opposite way for me, because I played this long before. This was actually my first exposure to V. And when FGO used it, I was like, oh, cool. That's an interesting reference that I thought I wouldn't see in two different places. Anyway, this entire mural zaps you if you hit it, so maybe don't do that. Also, what's up here? Oh, just sends you right back to the Inferno Cavern. The other thing I know about V in particular is the entire thing of you just fighting his eye in this game, and like the huge eyelash and the huge eyelid, is that in the original story, the way V is described as like having eyelids that reach the ground. They're so big they reach the ground. In this game, it's just that he's so bloody huge that all you can ever see is his eye, and you basically just hit him in the eye until he goes away. So here's a cool little sequence. You have to go up here. First off, here's a shop. Pretty clever of you to find this place, considering. We can buy Earth Spears, Flare Gun Ammo, and Chakrams. So I should probably explain how Chakrams work at this point, because I've been putting it off. Chakrams basically are boomerangs. You can actually get all of your Chakram ammo back and use it infinitely if you're careful. Even if you miss it, you can still pick the one up, but eventually it will... it'll go on the ground and basically just dissolve. Put the Glyph Readers on, that's just another one of those. So, once you get rid of this wall once, you can go down here, and make a shortcut. At which point you never ever have to deal with that pedestal again. This is Palenque's coffin. A mystery lies hidden within two murals. The small one will call it forth, the large one holds the mystery within. Face this challenge with the golden key in hand. Anyway. Yeah, looking at your wall of text, Patchy, which, by the way, very interesting and educational. Thank you for sharing that. It definitely does sound like Gogol is more Ukrainian than Russian in that case, because if he's writing mostly about Ukrainian folklore and Ukrainian villages while living in Ukraine, while it just happens to be considered part of the Russian Empire, I'd call him Ukrainian by today's standards. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying, is that he's Ukrainian. It was just at a time when Ukraine was part of Russia, which is where it looks like the confusion comes from. Fair enough. So, here's where it gets interesting. That door between the Inferno Cavern and the Tower of Ruin that we used in order to fight V. That probably shouldn't have happened, considering that the door. Well, the doors, normally doors to between frontside and backside areas don't open until you defeated the boss of that area. And we obviously hadn't beaten V yet when the way to him opened. Well, here's the thing. That door was not coded to V's death. It was coded to the death of the first four Guardians. probably more to Bahamut. So where's the door that's coded to V's death? Well, if you remember, we never actually got to see the backside area of the spring in the sky. So, yeah, it's right here. I mentioned earlier that there's some rocks here that are of a lighter color. V's death triggers this doorway to open. And when we go through it, we reach the Tower of the Goddess. Here's a side note. Every single one of these statues of the goddess in this area are sacred. Don't hit them. This will not actually be super important later on. It's just telling us once again about what a item does. Also, Medusa heads. Although they are not actually Medusa heads. They're, Oh yes, the Magatama jewel! Yeah, no, I don't think this was, actually meant as an Ace Attorney joke, because Magatamas are, like, a real thing in folklore, which this game takes a lot from. As we just saw from, like, completely random use of Ukrainian folklore in V. The Magatama jewel is just another one of those. And there's a chest here with a hidden map. I'm pretty sure those flying heads are, like... I don't remember which culture it is. It's, I think, like... Indonesian, maybe? I'm not sure. That's supposed to... It might also be Japanese. I really can't remember which one this is. But it's like a vampire head that, just flies around and sucks your blood. This is an extremely important tablet. The lake created by Migala and Futo. Ribu carries the water to the tower, the place where the finger points and Anunnaki refuses to gaze upon. Reading this starts a very interesting puzzle. We put a weight on that tablet, and something changes somewhere in the ruins. We'll get back to that in a bit. The hesitation in thy heart is an unseen wound. Shine upon it with the eye of truth. Those climbing the tower never turn back. Abao Aku attacks the hesitant. When they talk about the tower, they don't mean... Well, they actually do mean this tower, but... Oh, shit. So if you look closely, you'll probably see the enemy attacking me. It basically works like a Boo in Mario. Second you turn your back, the enemy charges you. Luckily, you can kill him, unlike the Boos. A hunk of flying iron, a machine created by the sixth child. It will begin to move when thou holds the golden key in hand. So let's heal up a bit with this fairy. He who possesses wisdom wields ultimate power. When the two are in balance, power will be thine own. Art thou all-knowing? If thou deem thyself ready, proceed to balance the spirits. We are not ready to balance the spirits yet, and luckily we can't even access the room where we would do that, so... that puzzle is going to sit on the back burner for a long while. Oh hey. But yes, this enemy that I mentioned is looking like a Boo is in fact a Baoaku. It's one of the few enemies that we actually know the name of in-game, and we're not getting through the glossary that was included in the PlayStation Portable release of this game. So here comes the hard part. Climbing the tower. Basically, you have to climb this tower while avoiding a Baoaku and the Medusa heads. And basically any mistakes will make you fall down real far. Oh shit, shit. Okay. There we go. Yeah, there's a lot of neat little folklore nods in this game. The implication for basically this entire game is that since this is where civilization started, all of the monsters and stuff in these ruins are like the basis for worldwide folklore and stuff. To the left lies the secret of life, to the right lies the power of destruction. Yeah, very similar to how Fate works with a lot of things, in fact. There's a lot of weird similarities between this game and Fate, but this game takes a much more I don't know, literal aesthetic to it. Like, Fate likes to, Fate likes to fuck around with myths in order to make certain things they want to do work. I suppose you could put it the way Frog did. But Fate likes to screw around with things. La Mulana tends to just do things exactly as they're depicted. Those leaving this land, remember this. We cannot grant the mother's wish. To which children of the mother's children... To which generation of the mother's children dost thou belong? The second child desires that the mother's wishes come true. So, there's one way we haven't gone yet in this area. Oh, also the tablet, but... yeah. For the record, you are not supposed to fight the Abawakus until you can actually see them. The game doesn't expect you to. But I've just gotten good enough at spotting them from playing this section so many times that, well, yeah. This is a very complicated way to say, well, you'll see. It's a dumb puzzle that you basically don't need hints for because it's extremely self-explanatory. And the fairy's back. So what's this way? A ladder that won't go up. And pipes that lead nowhere. Also another Abawaku. And on the downswing, we have an unreadable tablet. Alright, let's get to solving this puzzle. So, something changed in the ruins that we couldn't see when we put down that weight on the pedestal earlier. Also, here's Zelbud explaining how to climb the tower, which he sends after you've been stuck in the, after you've just spent enough time here, I believe. But we've already climbed the tower, so that's not an issue. So, the lake created by Migala and Futa. Ribu carries the water to the tower. The place where the finger points and Anunnaki refuses to gaze upon. Well, Anunnaki was mentioned in The Spring in the Sky, and The Spring in the Sky is the front side area to the Tower of the Goddess. So let's check out and see if anything's changed here. Oh, now hang on now. To my left, that, and right actually, both sides of the Goddess's water jug, those two circular things there, they used to have little red covers on them, like tiny rubies. Those aren't there anymore, so that's probably what happened. Now, the place where the finger points and Anunnaki refuses to gaze upon. Well, since they were also talking about the giants in the tablet, Migala, Futo, and Ribu, let's go pay the giants a visit. So these ones we know. These giants we actually figured out who they were. Migala is the one on the left who's holding the spear with his left hand. Futo is right next to him. Bado is here. And Ledo is the headless one. So which one's Ribu? Well, Ribu's on the second line down. We already knew that one of those statues was on the bottom row was Saki's. That's the one that's currently gone. Next to him is a statue of G, who's in prayer because it's moonlight. This one has the Chronicle of the Giants, the beginning of it, which was written by Abuto, implying that this statue is of Abuto. Meaning that Ribu has to be this one. So it was talking about the place where the finger points. This paw? Yep, you go into the pot and it brings you out here. Although you can also, just go through it the other way, but come on, where's the fun in that? Also, there might, until you open that thing, there might actually be a floodgate there. I can't quite remember. Luckily, since we're already in the Spring in the Sky, we can easily get to the second part of this. So it's probably time to explain lore-wise what's kind of happening here. So, on an earlier tablet, yes, the place where Anunnaki refuses to gaze leads to the second cover. On an earlier tablet, they've been talking about a tower soaring the skies and a lake providing the water. Here's what's going on. The entire Spring in the Sky, if you look at its construction, you know how when, like, NASA launches a rocket, there's the rocket and the rocket tower, which is that big structure that holds it in place until you actually launch it into space? Well, the Spring in the Sky is essentially a primitive power generator and rocket tower to the tower of the Goddess, which is the rocket. When they're talking about sending the mother back to the skies, they mean quite literally sending her to... Everyone saw that, right? There was another man dressed like us, but in brown, and he just dropped into the Temple of the Sun. Well, this is Anunnaki. Resembles the mural of a god in Sumerian mythology. There are theories that they are aliens from the planet Nibiru, and this area is called Anunnaki's Stone Basin. There were sphinxes here before. Talisman. A charm that the professor's father always carried with him. So that must have been the guy. That must be Lameza's father, Sean. And he's somehow managed to destroy that Sphinx, leading into this area. We're not going to read any of these tablets because they're not important right now. Instead... No, that's not how it's spelled. It's S-H-A-W-N. Well, if you remember the backstory of this game from the first episode, which some of you might not have been there for, Lameza and Sean don't exactly get along. In fact, the way that Lameza found out that La Mulana had been found is that Sean sent him a letter taunting him about having found it. So the talisman appears to be a usable item. Let's talk to Zelput about it. That talisman, it belonged to your father. Your father went in them ruins and ain't come back since. Seems like he was researching something deep inside. You should look for your father's diary. I'm sure he had it with him. There may be things about what he was studying written in it. What? You saw a guy in the ruins that looked like your father? That's crazy. It's been many days since he went in. Look for the diary, alright? So we're going to be looking for our father's diary. But first, back to business. We still have to finish powering the Tower of the Goddess. So, we established that that guy there is Anunnaki. So, the way Anunnaki refuses to gaze upon. Just walk through this wall. Now, the first change that these things come out. So parts of the game suggest that if you're having trouble climbing the tower, you use these things as elevators to do it instead. Here's why that's a bad idea. Yeah, honestly, after I finished this puzzle, I was planning on pretty much leaving it anyway, because I had planned to stop this at V, but then I kind of just got distracted and wanted to start doing the Tower of the Goddess. So, I'll just finish this puzzle, and then we can end the stream. Because yeah, it's getting to dinner time, and I should probably I should probably eat something. But the other thing that this flooding did was fill these pipes with water. Also, hidden coin chest here. Now that we've killed those two flying thingies, there should be something that happened. One of the triggers was definitely killing them. I know that. Oh, right. Okay. So what you're going to want to do here, first off, you can't traverse these pipes properly unless you have the anchor, which is really only going to be an issue if you're sequence breaking anyway. But yeah, you have to swim up the pipes. Read about the illusion of goddess statues, which is basically a huge red herring of a hint because you don't actually need to think about it at all. I've actually seen a speedrun of this game. It mostly is just sequence breaking the shit out of it, except for one or two cases where they use a clip-through-walls glitch. The speedrun is about 2 hours. Mostly because, since you don't have to hunt down all the tablets, the idea behind the speedrun is you just solve all of the puzzles as quickly as possible from memory. I've actually got the speedrunner achievement for this game, which is to finish the game in less than 10 hours. And I did it pretty much the exact same way. I didn't use any glitches, I just solved all the puzzles from memory. Here we go. Doing all that gave us the Eye of Truth, which we will now teleport back to the top of the tower to actually get around to using. So with the Eye of Truth, well, first off, we can now see a Bawaku when he shows up. But second, we can see these things. Which basically activate those red and green lights on the sides. We have to unlock this on both sides. To get what's in this chest, which is the plane model. Its power will cause the statue of the Goddess of Deceit to disappear. So now all the fake goddess statues will just go away. Which there are 3 of. Well, 2 of, and then 1 real goddess statue that gets angry that we call her fake and basically tries to fuck us up. Like this. I want healing right now. So, here's the trick to fairies. Each time you activate a fairy, it creates a new pattern of lights, and you can tell which fairy it's going to be based on the pattern. This is the one I want, the healing fairy. Fairy points don't activate unless the fairy actually appears while you're on screen, so you can quickly hop off screen to reset it. Basically, at any time you can play the luck game to get a better fairy. So, those 2 goddess statues that opened up lead to different specific places. I'm going to quickly show off all 3 and then end the stream, just so you get a preview of next time. The first place that we've now unlocked is the Chamber of Birth. Second place is a secret area of the Graveyard of the Giants. And the third is a secret area of the Gate of Illusion. And that's that for now. Everyone, thank you so much for coming to the stream. It has been a hoot. This was a really fun one. We got a ton of the game done. We're actually probably at this point in late mid-game, I'd say. So we can probably actually get this game done in the next 2 or 3 streams at this pace, although it might not be at this pace because some nasty bosses are coming up, and also just some serious busy work of puzzles. But anyway, thanks so much for coming. You guys are the best. Like, seriously, I love playing this on my own, but it's even more fun when I get to show it off to such a great audience. I will see you in about a week's time, God willing. And, well, that's about it. This is Battler Sexual signing off.